Evaluate the importance of literary sources in determining ancient Indian history.
Literary sources are crucial in reconstructing the history of ancient India, offering insights into the political, social, cultural, and religious life of the time. These sources include religious texts, epics, poems, dramas, and inscriptions. They are indispensable for understanding the complex and diverse historical landscape of India before the advent of systematic historical records. The importance of literary sources in determining ancient Indian history can be evaluated under several key aspects. 1. Religious texts. Religious texts like the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, and the epics Mahabharata and Ramayana are among the oldest literary sources of ancient Indian history. The Rigveda, for example, is one of the earliest compositions in the world, providing valuable information about the social structure, religious practices, and the geographical knowledge of the early Indo-Aryan civilization. The Upanishads offer philosophical insights that influence not only religious life, but also the broader cultural and intellectual history of India. The Puranas, although composed later, contain historical legends, genealogies of kings, and accounts of dynasties that help historians trace the political history of ancient India. These texts, while often mythological, contain kernels of historical facts interwoven with religious narratives. 2. Epics. The Mahabharata and Ramayana, while primarily epic narratives, are also rich historical sources. The Mahabharata, with its extensive geographical descriptions, social norms, and political scenarios, provides a glimpse into the early Indian kingdoms and their interactions. The Ramayana similarly offers insights into the social and cultural life of ancient India, particularly in terms of the idealized roles of kingship and the principles of dharma, duty/righteousness. Both epics are also valuable for understanding the historical evolution of the idea of kingship, the role of kinship in caste and social organization, and the development of religious and moral values over time. 3. Sanskrit literature. Sanskrit plays and poems, such as those by Kalidasa, are significant for understanding the cultural and social milieu of their times. Kalidasa's works, including Shakuntala and Meghaduta, provide details about the life of the royal court, the nature of governance, and the interactions between different regions and peoples. Moreover, treatises like Kautilya's Arthashastra are invaluable for reconstructing the political and economic history of ancient India. The Arthashastra is one of the earliest texts on statecraft and economics, offering insights into the administrative system, taxation, trade, diplomacy, and military strategy. 4. Buddhist and Jain texts. Buddhist texts like the Tripitaka and Jain texts like the Agamas are crucial for understanding the religious and social dynamics of ancient India, especially during the period of the Mahajanapadas and the Maurya Empire. These texts provide accounts of the spread of Buddhism and Jainism, the lives of the Buddha and Mahavira, and the socio-political context in which these religions flourished. The edicts of Emperor Ashoka, found in inscriptions across the Indian subcontinent, are also a valuable source of historical information. They reflect Ashoka's efforts to propagate Buddhism and his moral and administrative policies. 5. Challenges and limitations. While literary sources are invaluable, they are not without challenges. Many of these texts are religious or mythological, making it difficult to separate historical facts from theological or allegorical content. The absence of precise dates, the tendency for exaggeration, and the influence of later interpolations pose challenges for historians. Furthermore, the reliance on oral tradition before these texts were written down adds another layer of complexity, as it is difficult to ascertain how much the content may have changed over time. 6. Comparative analysis. To mitigate the limitations of literary sources, historians cross-reference them with archaeological findings, inscriptions, and foreign accounts. For example, the descriptions in the Arthashastra are compared with archaeological evidence of urban planning and coinage. Similarly, the accounts of Greek historians like Megasthenes, who wrote about India in the 4th century B.C.E., provide external perspectives that can be contrasted with Indian sources. Conclusion. Literary sources are indispensable for reconstructing the history of ancient India. They provide a rich tapestry of information on various aspects of life, from religion and philosophy to politics and economics. Despite their limitations when critically analyzed and corroborated with other sources, these texts offer profound insights into the civilization that shaped the Indian subcontinent and influenced large parts of Asia.
Impact of trade and urbanization on the early peninsular India.
Trade and urbanization played a crucial role in shaping the social, economic, and cultural landscape of early peninsular India. During this period, which spans from around 600 BCE to 300 CE, the region witnessed significant developments in both internal and external trade, leading to the growth of urban centers and the rise of new social and political structures. The growth of trade in early peninsular India was facilitated by its strategic location, which allowed for interactions with regions as far-flung as the Mediterranean, the Persian Gulf, Southeast Asia, and China. The peninsular region, particularly along the coasts, was rich in resources like spices, gemstones, pearls, and textiles, which were highly sought after in international markets. Inland, the Deccan Plateau was a hub for agricultural products, iron, and other metals, which further boosted trade activities. The development of trade networks was supported by advancements in maritime technology, such as the construction of better ships and the knowledge of monsoon winds, which made sea voyages more predictable and efficient. Ports such as Archaeological, Kavaripattanam, and Maziris became bustling centers of commerce, attracting traders from distant lands. These ports were not just points of exchange but also melting pots of different cultures, languages, and ideas. Urbanization and its impact. The rise in trade activities had a direct impact on urbanization. The influx of wealth from trade led to the growth of cities, which became centers of administration, culture, and religion. Urbanization in peninsular India was characterized by the emergence of both coastal and inland cities. Coastal cities, like the aforementioned ports, were primarily trade hubs, while inland cities like Madurai, Ujjain, and Amaravati developed as political and religious centers. Urbanization brought about significant changes in the social structure of early peninsular India. The growing cities attracted a diverse population, including artisans, merchants, laborers, and administrators. This diversity led to the rise of new social classes and the gradual transformation of the Varna, caste, system. The merchant class, known as the Vaishyas, gained prominence due to their control over trade and wealth. This economic power translated into social and political influence, challenging the traditional dominance of the Brahmins and Kshatriyas. The growth of cities also stimulated the development of infrastructure, such as roads, water reservoirs, and religious institutions. Urban centers became focal points for cultural and intellectual activities, leading to advancements in art, architecture, and literature. For instance, the construction of stupas, temples, and other religious structures in cities like Amaravati and Nagarjunakonda reflected the region's rich architectural heritage. These urban centers also played a crucial role in the spread of religions like Buddhism and Jainism, which gained a significant following during this period. Economic and political implications. The economic prosperity brought about by trade and urbanization had far-reaching political implications. The wealth generated from trade enabled local rulers and dynasties to consolidate their power and expand their territories. The Satavahanas, who ruled much of peninsular India during this period, leveraged their control over trade routes to establish a strong and stable empire. They issued coins, built infrastructure, and patronized art and culture, all of which were indicative of a flourishing economy. Moreover, the competition for control over trade routes and urban centers often led to conflicts between rival kingdoms, shaping the political landscape of the region. The desire to dominate trade networks also motivated alliances and treaties, leading to a complex web of political relationships in peninsular India. Conclusion. In conclusion, trade and urbanization were instrumental in transforming early peninsular India into a region of economic prosperity and cultural dynamism. The growth of trade networks fostered the rise of urban centers, which in turn influenced social structures, political power, and cultural development. This period laid the foundation for the later historical developments in the region, making early peninsular India a significant chapter in the subcontinent's history.
Outline the major events that led to the establishment of Mauryan rule.
The establishment of the Mauryan rule in ancient India was a result of several major events. 1. Nanda dynasty decline. The Nanda dynasty, which ruled Magadha, was known for its wealth and large army but had become unpopular due to its oppressive policies. This discontent laid the groundwork for a change in leadership. 2. Alexander's invasion, 327 to 325 BCE. Alexander the Great's invasion of northwestern India exposed the region to external threats, weakening local rulers and creating a power vacuum. Although Alexander's campaign was brief, it destabilized the region, leading to the emergence of new powers. 3. Rise of Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya, with guidance from his mentor and strategist Chanakya, capitalized on the decline of the Nanda dynasty. Around 321 BCE, Chandragupta overthrew the last Nanda ruler, Dhanananda, and established the Mauryan Empire, marking the beginning of a new era. 4. Consolidation of power. After establishing control over Magadha, Chandragupta expanded his empire by defeating the remaining Greek satraps left by Alexander and extending his rule across northern and central India. His reign marked the consolidation of a vast and unified Indian empire. 5. Treaty with Seleucus, 305 BC. Chandragupta's victory over Seleucus I Nicator, one of Alexander's generals, led to the ceding of territories, including parts of modern-day Afghanistan and Pakistan, to the Mauryan Empire. This treaty also included a marriage alliance, strengthening Mauryan power. 6. Internal administration. Chandragupta, with Chanakya's guidance, established a centralized administration, efficient bureaucracy, and a strong military, laying the foundation for a stable and prosperous empire that lasted for nearly 150 years.
Describe the main features of mature Harappan urbanization.
The mature Harappan urbanization, flourishing from 2600 to 1900 BCE, is notable for its advanced urban planning and social organization. Harappan cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa were meticulously laid out in a grid pattern, featuring a clear division between the citadel and lower town. The use of standardized baked bricks and sophisticated drainage systems reflects a high level of architectural and engineering expertise. The economy was diverse, with craft production, including pottery, beads, and textiles, playing a significant role. Extensive trade networks connected the Harappans with regions as far as Mesopotamia, indicating a thriving economic system. Social organization was marked by standardization in weights, measures, and construction, suggesting centralized regulation, though evidence of social stratification is subtle. Religious and cultural practices are evident in the remains of public buildings like the Great Bath and the use of seals, often inscribed with the undeciphered Indus script. Unlike other contemporary civilizations, the Harappans did not construct monumental architecture, possibly indicating a more egalitarian society. The decline of this civilization around 1900 BCE remains a subject of study, but its urban planning and technological achievements left a lasting legacy in the Indian subcontinent.
Discuss the factors responsible for the rise of the new religious ideas in the 6th century BCE.
The rise of new religious ideas in the 6th century BCE, particularly Buddhism and Jainism, was influenced by several factors. 1. Social discontent. The rigid caste system and the dominance of the Brahmins led to social inequalities and discontent among the lower castes and common people. These groups sought religious ideas that offered greater spiritual equality and moral conduct over ritualistic practices. 2. Economic changes. The growth of trade and commerce, especially in the urban centers, led to the rise of a wealthy merchant class that questioned the relevance of Vedic rituals, which were time-consuming and expensive. They favored religions that promoted ethical living and simplicity. 3. Political factors. The rise of new kingdoms and republics created an environment where rulers were more open to alternative ideologies that could unify diverse populations and challenge the authority of the traditional Brahminical order. 4. Intellectual awakening. The period saw an intellectual and philosophical awakening, with people questioning the authority of the Vedas and the efficacy of rituals. Thinkers and philosophers sought answers to life's fundamental questions, leading to the emergence of new doctrines that focused on personal ethics and liberation from suffering. 5. Religious reform. Dissatisfaction with the complex and rigid Vedic rituals led to a demand for simpler, more accessible forms of worship. Leaders like Mahavira and Buddha offered paths that emphasized personal conduct, meditation, and non-violence over ritualistic practices. These factors collectively contributed to the emergence of Buddhism, Jainism, and other new religious movements that challenged the existing religious order and offered alternative paths to spiritual fulfillment.
Some prominent archaeological sites in India.
India is home to several prominent archaeological sites that reflect its rich historical and cultural heritage. 1. Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, key sites of the Indus Valley Civilization, showcasing advanced urban planning and architecture. 2. Sanchi, famous for its well-preserved stupas, reflecting early Buddhist art and architecture. 3. Ajanta and Ellora caves, rock-cut caves with intricate sculptures and paintings, representing Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain traditions. 4. Hampi, the ruins of the Vijayanagara Empire, known for its stunning temples and palaces. 5. Khajuraho, renowned for its exquisite temple sculptures depicting various aspects of life.
Environment and human settlements.
The environment significantly influences human settlements by shaping where and how people live. Factors such as climate, topography, and availability of natural resources determine settlement patterns. Favorable conditions like fertile land and water sources lead to the development of agriculture-based communities, while harsh climates and rugged terrains may result in sparse or nomadic settlements. Environmental challenges, such as natural disasters or resource depletion, can also impact settlement sustainability and drive migration. Conversely, human activities, including urbanization and industrialization, affect the environment, potentially leading to issues like pollution and habitat loss, which can further influence settlement patterns.
Painted gray ware culture.
The painted gray ware (PGW) culture is an archaeological tradition of ancient India, dating from approximately 1200 to 600 BCE. It is characterized by its distinctive pottery, which features a gray fabric with painted geometric and floral patterns in red or black. This culture is predominantly associated with the northern regions of the Indian subcontinent, including parts of Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, and Punjab. Key aspects of the PGW culture include 1. Pottery, the most notable feature including bowls, jars, and dishes, often with intricate painted designs. 2. Settlement patterns. PGW sites are typically found in river valleys and are characterized by large, well-planned settlements with well-defined structures. 3. Lifestyle. Evidence suggests that the PGW people engaged in agriculture, animal husbandry, and possibly trade. Their settlements show a shift from earlier nomadic or semi-nomadic lifestyles to more settled agricultural communities. 4. Society. The culture reflects a transition period between the later Vedic period and the rise of the Mauryan Empire, with increasing complexity in social and economic structures. The PGW culture provides valuable insights into the early historic period of India, showing advancements in technology, economy, and social organization.
The political system of early Vedic period.
In the early Vedic period, circa 1500 to 1000 BCE, the political system was tribal and decentralized. Society was organized into tribes, janas, with leadership provided by chieftains or kings, rajas, selected by tribal councils. Assemblies like the Sava, Council of Elders, and Samiti, larger assembly, played key roles in decision-making. Authority was not centralized but distributed among various tribes and local leaders. The economy was pastoral and agricultural, with wealth based on cattle and land. The rajas were supported by warriors, kshatriyas, and priests, brahmanas, who provided religious and moral guidance.
The Satavahan.
The Satavahan were an ancient Indian dynasty that ruled from the 2nd century BCE to the 3rd century CE, primarily in the Deccan region. They are known for their significant contributions to the development of trade, culture, and administration. The dynasty was founded by Samukha and is notable for its support of both Hinduism and Buddhism. Under rulers like Gautamiputra Shakarni and Dashishtiputra Pulumavi, the Satavahan expanded their territory, facilitating trade across the Indian subcontinent and with the Roman Empire. Their rule is marked by advances in art, architecture, and inscriptions, including the famous Nasic and Karl caves.